So, Buff Daddy, it's nice to have you on here, man. Would you
Thanks. Nice to
introduce
be here.
yourself for people who may not know you?
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Buff Daddy Tree, but my real name is Dimitri Nelson. I've been a bodybuilder for the past 6, 7 years, competing in the NPC where I've won 3 overall championships, so I'm proud of that. I've been a personal trainer for the last 7 years where I've helped hundreds of people really just become the best versions of themselves physically and mentally.
Hmm. We're gonna get into that later on, but let's start from the beginning. What was your childhood like?
Childhood was, I grew up the oldest of three, single mom. So I spent a lot of my time really raising, looking after my younger siblings. I was always into sports, so very athletic. That kept me mostly out of trouble, but young kid, mom at home, I still got into some mischief. But
So,
yeah, you go ahead.
what's one childhood memory that still makes you smile?
It's probably going to be a trip to Disney World with a lot of my cousins. So we went, and I don't know if you know the show Keenan and Kel. It was a
Yeah, I
Nickelodeon
do.
show. But yeah, so we got to see that show live.
Oh
That
shit.
is probably one of my happiest memories that still like gives me chills because I love that show.
Who did you look up to as a kid?
Who did I look up to as a kid? Ooh, probably my favorite superhero, Batman. Yeah, I even had a Rottweiler that I named Batman
Why Batman in particular?
because Batman is really the only superhero that has no powers, but
Hmm.
yet not only is he the most like one of the most respected, but he is leader of the Justice League. Like he's leading people who have immense powers and bringing them together. So just that leadership role, man.
That's cool as fuck, man. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So let's get into when did you first start going to the gym?
So like I said, I was always into sports, pretty athletic kid. I got my first gym membership when I was like 12 or 13, but I didn't really go to the weight room a lot. I spent a lot of time like in the gym playing basketball. I used to pool a lot, swimming. So a lot of endurance. I started lifting probably when I was like 24, 23, 24.
Hmm.
Is when I really got in the gym and I picked up the weights.
So this is just an unrelated question because we're on the other side of the world. I'm in Europe, so I'm curious. How much does a gym membership cost in the U.S.? Here it costs like $50 a month.
Yeah, it ranges. There are some of your like super commercial gyms like Planet Fitness that are $10 a month. Your average is probably like 30 to 50, and then we have the higher end gyms of the specialized equipment that are probably around like $100 a month or more.
Hmm. Oh shit, $10 a month.
Yeah, but
Damn.
it's I mean, honestly, if you're just starting out at the gym, it gets the job done. They've got good amenities, it's not terrible, but yeah, $10 a month.
Oh, yo, $10 a month. I cannot find that here in Czech Republic.
Yeah.
There's no way I can find that here. uh, so let me ask you this: what were your like biggest mistakes in the beginning in the gym, in fitness in general?
Ooh. My biggest mistakes, first of all, the biggest one was nutrition. So when I first started working
Mm.
out, I was so poor I couldn't even afford a gym membership. So I'm serious. I used to jog to a gym that was doing like free trials. I'd sign up for a 3 day or a 5 day trial. And then I would jog to the gym, work out for 2 hours, and then I would walk or jog back home. And my nutrition for all the movement I was doing just wasn't enough. I was eating like fish salads and I was having egg whites for breakfast. So I was doing things that I thought were healthy, but
Mm-hmm.
because of the amount of exercise I was getting in, I really was making no gains at all.
I mean, egg etc. Like it's not that bad. It's like still better than eating fucking McDonald's and calling that protein, right?
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah. The problem was I wasn't eating nearly enough. I should have been eating so much more.
uh,
I didn't know anything. YouTube wasn't as big as it was or as it is
mm,
now. There wasn't as much information out there if you didn't have someone giving it to you. So,
mm,
I was at the time I was doing my best.
hmm. Yo, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about? Do you know who Sam Sulek, for example, is?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what do you think about his type of diet?
So I'm gonna be honest. I know who he is. I've seen his clips of his videos, but I haven't
Mhm.
like watched a lot of them, so I don't even know what his diet is like.
Yeah, his bulking diet is basically breakfast, drink 2 liters of chocolate milk for I don't know
Mhm.
what purpose. Then after that, about an hour after that, he goes to the gym. Then he has some fucking what do you call it, Chipotle or something like that, a big
Oh
bowl
yeah,
with
yeah,
full of
Chipotle.
carbs and shit. And it's like, yeah, he's not natty. He technically can afford it, but it's like then people start thinking that natties can eat like bullshit and then
Yeah.
still be shredded and big and look good. In reality, it's not like that, to be honest.
Well, I deal with some of that too because I made a post about eating the pizza before I go work out, and people were like, "Oh, well, that's easy to do when you're on gear, you're on steroids, X, Y, Z." But the truth is, I spent 6 or 7 years before now dieting super hard when I was competing. So
Mm.
because my body is built a certain way, I can get away with a lot more. Not necessarily because I'm on drugs, but because I've built my body to where I can eat a pizza, I can eat a burger, and it doesn't destroy my physique. It fuels the muscle. So I think that's one thing too people have to understand. Like we see what Sam Sulek's eating now. We didn't see what he was eating 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think he actually still eats kind of clean, and she only like does it for the eating vlog. That was like he ate cereal with milk like twice a day, etc. Like I
Yeah.
don't think that's what he eats on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, that too. Because like I usually go like 80-20. So out of every 10 meals
Mm,
I eat, 8 of those are going to be clean. 2 of those are going to be pretty much whatever I want.
mm. You know what? I started actually like kind of enjoying like good meals. But yeah, I kind of do the 80-20 rule on accident, but usually I just really love eggs and beef. I just, for some
Yeah,
reason, I just enjoy that food, but
that's
I
the
got
breakfast of
accustomed
champions
to
right
it over
there.
time. So, what were like the biggest differences you noticed since starting taking gear?
Say it again.
What were the biggest differences in how you feel ever since start taking gear?
Do, 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 do. I would say the biggest difference is just faster recovery, which
Hmm.
allows me to work harder more frequently.
Hmm.
I think is the biggest one. And honestly, whenever I tell people about PEDs, I always tell them these are most of them, 90% I would say at least, are pharmaceutical drugs that are used for some form of recovery that bodybuilders just use for another form of recovery to recover
Hmm.
our muscles instead of recovering from cancer.
Hmm.
You
So
know?
at what point would you like think that it makes sense for someone to start taking gear? Because obviously, if you start going to the gym for 2 3 years, you don't need that. Actually,
Yeah.
I think that might detriment something. Like I think that at that point, you're not ready yet to make that decision. But I don't know what's your opinion on that.
In my opinion, the average person who's just going to the gym to work out and look good does not need it. My decision to take gear is because I was competing as a bodybuilder, and in order to compete at a certain level, it's just one of those things you have to do. Unless you're just super genetically gifted, and I have great genes, but I also have to be honest with myself.
Mm,
I pushed myself really hard for 4 or 5 years, dieted hard, worked out hard, and built really the best physique I could in that time. And like I said, to go to the next level, it was just, well, we can keep working just as hard and then kind of speed up the process.
mm,
So I think you really have to have a goal or a reason. Doing it just because you want to get jacked. I mean, your body, your choice. I don't care. But in my opinion, I did it because I had a goal I was striving towards, and that was just kind of the path that I was on.
mm. So when did you start like building an interest in bodybuilding?
My bodybuilding coach, so when I first started working out, I had no interest in bodybuilding at all. I was just so my backstory is I was actually a teacher at a hair school. So I'm a licensed cosmetologist and
Oh.
instructor. So I do hair, women's hair, men's hair, all the hair. But the reason I started going to the gym was to, look better for my clients. I'm working around women, so if I got some nice arms, they flirt with me a little bit, they give me a little extra money,
Yeah.
on the tip side. So that's why I got into it. But I was actually working out, and my coach, not my now coach, came up to me in the gym and was like, "Hey, you have a nice physique. Have you ever thought about doing competitions?" And at that time, all I knew about bodybuilding was Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was really
Mm,
it. But I started looking into it, and I was like, this actually looks like something I could do. I do have a pretty good physique, and that was just the catalyst that started my entire bodybuilding career.
Hmm. So, like, did you have anybody that inspired you when you started like taking bodybuilding seriously?
My One of my biggest inspirations was and still is Frank Zane.
Hmm.
Just his physique and his stature, to me, one of the best ever. So I
Hmm.
modeled a lot of my posing after him, a lot of my training after him, because that was the physique I was trying to attain.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously. Um, yeah, Frank Zane looks really amazing. Honestly, my all-time favorite will always be Tom Platz and his legs. That's
Oof.
bro, that's
Yeah.
incredible. And also
I just
the intensity to which he was able to push, like
yeah.
I don't think I could mimic that ever.
I don't
Holy
know if there will ever be anyone who could. He's the
shit.
quad father for a reason. Like that
Exactly.
man was crazy.
Mm. So we touched up upon diet, but I want to talk about how important is diet actually.
Diet is infinitely more important than training.
Mm. More?
I think the three most important things that can help anyone with their physique, with their body, with their quality of life are food, water, and sleep.
Mm.
And
Why?
then add training.
Hmm.
So food, obviously, because you have to feed whatever your goals are. If
Mm.
you're just like me in the beginning, I was working out super hard trying to build muscle, not knowing that A, I was doing a lot of cardio, so I was burning muscle, and B, I wasn't eating enough. So no matter how hard I
Mm.
trained, I was basically working against myself. That's why nutrition is first. You have to be able to feed whatever your goal is.
Mm.
Water, because your body is 60 to 70% water, your muscles are
Mm.
70% water. So you need to stay hydrated. And then sleep, recovery. I don't care how hard you work out. If your body can't recover, you're not going to grow and make progress.
Mm.
So
Fucking
I
hell.
always, whenever I coach people, I always say, let's start with those three things before we even get in the gym and start lifting weights and going through. Now let's get those three things first because they're making you less stressful.
Mm.
And stress is also something that hinders progress big time.
Mm. You know, there was like I don't know if there was in the U.S., but here in Czech Republic, one time everybody was saying that stress helps you lose weight, so you should stress yourself out to lose the weight. And, and
Oh
so
man.
I was literally like hearing all these articles about these fucking middle-aged people, like literally not sleeping and literally right like purposefully increasing their cortisol levels because they thought that that would help them lose weight. And I'm like, oh my god, I at that time I wasn't go to the gym. I was like 13 at the time, and I was like, this can't make sense. Come on. But
No.
now that I look back at it, like 4 or 5 years later, I just look at it like, oh my goodness, bro, what the fuck?
People will try anything except eating right and going to the gym.
Yeah,
They'll do anything
yo,
else.
like literally, people will just stress themselves out. They will take Ozempic. What do you think about
Dude,
Ozempic?
again, people will do anything except go to the gym and work out. So I have a client I'm working with now, and she actually was on Ozempic. She lost the weight, but the problem is because she didn't change her
Mm.
lifestyle. When she stopped taking it, she gained more weight than she had lost.
Ah,
And that's what happens to a lot of people because
mm,
without the drug, they still have the same bad habits
yeah.
and they gain the weight back. They gain more weight. So now we've got her down 20 pounds in the first 2 months, and she's happier than ever because she's building habits. They're going to be
Mm.
sustainable.
It's kind of like winning the lottery, $1 million, and then you just spend it all because you don't actually know what to do with the money because
Yeah,
you're
you don't know how
not
to manage the
ready.
money.
Yeah.
That's the thing I feel like with diets too in general, because people just go on diets for like a quick fix. They're like, oh, I have a vacation to go on in 3 months, so I want to go on a diet. So in my mind, whenever someone says diet, they're basically telling themselves this is a short-term fix for a
Mm.
problem. And as soon as the diet's over, they just go back to whatever they were
Yeah.
doing before, and then they gain the weight back.
I never got that. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Speaking of diets, what do you think about the two extremes, carnivore diet and the vegan diet? If you had to pick one, which one would you pick, and what do you think is the right balance between these two?
If I had to pick carnivore or vegan, I would pick carnivore
Me too.
all day, every day. One, I personally love meat.
Mm.
Two, I know people who are vegan, have been vegan, and I'm not saying it's impossible. I just see how much harder it is
Mm,
to reach your goals that way. And me personally, I mean, if that's your lifestyle choice, go for it. But I'm always going to choose meat.
hmm. Fucking hell. Yo, there's also the animal-based diet and the primal diet, as they call it, like where you just eat eggs, goat cheese, meat, and what other like milk, just
Yeah.
animal products. That makes a little bit more sense, to be honest. And I tried that for like 2.5 months, and honestly, I I got rid of all the fucking brain fog. Like literally,
Yeah.
I was waking up and I was like just so focused. I didn't have to even fast during the day. Like during whenever I work on my business, I always like keep fasted so I can focus more. Right? Like whenever I
Yeah.
eat carbs, I just feel like sluggish. I'm not focused. I'm just even before the gym, I don't eat a lot of carbs. Like one banana. That's about it.
Yeah. And that's a slower digesting carb too because it's got a lot of fiber.
Mm, fucking hell. Yo, what's like a good source of carbs? Because there's also the complex carbs and the simple carbs and
Yeah, so good carbs, the carbs that I eat, especially when I'm like in prep season. So
mm,
uh old fashioned oats or steel oats, sweet potatoes, quinoa, a lot of the ancient grains that people don't really eat, like farro is a really good one because you can make it taste like
mm,
almost anything. Because let's be honest, rice gets old. Okay, jasmine rice is delicious, but it gets old. So different grains. Um, yeah, you just want to stay away from like processed sugar,
mm.
bleached white flour, enriched long grain rice. This is stuff that has no nutritional value because they stripped all the grain, all the nutrients from it.
Yeah, what do you think about like the whole if it fits your macros type of diet that these when somebody actually looks good and it's a good like it's a bodybuilder and looks fucking has a really good physique and then they will do a 10,000 calorie challenge and then normal looking people or people that have been going to the gym for maybe half a year think that they can do the same and still get to that, like what do you think about if it fits your macros, that type of bullshit?
Things like that, I would just say, what is your goal overall? If your goal is
Mm,
simply just to lose weight and you don't necessarily care how you look, then if it fits your macros works because you can eat what you want as long as it fits your
mm,
macros. Now, if you're trying to look a certain way and be healthier on the inside, then obviously there's a big difference in the quality of food you're going to eat to
mm,
hit your macros.
yeah.
So, some people just want to, lose weight and they don't really, like I said, they don't care to go to the gym, which is fine.
Mm,
If that works for you, that works for you. So, I
yeah.
mean, you know, it depends on your goals. I'm not gonna hate on people who do it. 'Cause not everybody has the same goals that I do. We all have different goals, different lives. But
Mm,
yeah, I would just say the quality of the food usually for the if it fits your macros people is just like they choose
yeah.
shitty quality food and then they use if it fits my macros to justify eating shitty food.
Yeah, like McDonald's, bro. Like people actually think that like, oh, the McDonald's cheeseburger has fucking 21 grams of protein. Bro, first of all, do you actually believe that it has all the 21 grams of protein that they say?
No.
Oh my goodness. Same with
I don't e-
KFC, honest.
I don't even think they use real meat at McDonald's anymore. I refuse to eat it. Who knows what they're
uh,
feeding you? Why is it so cheap? No, I'm out.
Mm. Yo, now this is a question that's really interesting because here in Europe, we're starting to get some of the American fast foods. Like we have like the first Five Guys. There's like one in Prague, and that's about it. But we
Hmm.
had Burger King a couple of years ago, finally starting, and now it's pretty popular here. KFC and McDonald's were like decades old, but
Yeah.
we don't have like Chipotle, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and all this stuff. If you had to pick one fast food to eat for a couple of months, which one could you pick?
Ooh. If I had to pick one, honestly, I would go with Five Guys
What do they serve there?
burgers.
Hmm.
Because if I want to be low carb, I can get my burger on a lettuce bun, but still get the protein and
Mm.
fats from everything else. and I love burgers.
Hmm.
And their French fries are really good, and their milkshakes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would choose Five Guys.
What's like a typical American meal?
Uh, Burger and fries. Uh, Literally, that's like if you like the typical American, wings,
Mm.
chicken wings. Yeah, yeah, for me anyway.
What's like one meal that's considered like healthy, or people think that it's healthy, but in reality it's the opposite?
Oh, one food people think is healthy, but it's really not. I was thinking about this earlier. So I'm gonna go. This is double-edged sword because I also love sushi. But
Mm.
sushi is really just carbs and fats with very little
Yeah.
protein. So a lot of people think it's healthy,
Mm.
but really you're getting a sugar spike because they're using white
Mm.
rice, and then you're eating the fats that got cream cheese, avocado in them.
Yeah.
It tastes good. It looks clean, but
Mm.
I wouldn't say sushi is the healthiest.
Mm. Why do you think are there like so many obese people nowadays? Because if you take a look at in the fucking 20th century and even before that, there were the percentage of people that were obese were such lower than it is like now. Like it's like literally like it's like when you're trading and you see like a spike, like
Yeah.
absolute. Like why do you think in the past like 20, 30 years?
So there's two things. One, convenience. Uh, you have to move around a lot less to get things that you want. So you can literally sit on your couch, order food, and it comes to your door. You can sit on your couch, shop, and it comes to your door.
Mm.
Same thing with the workforce. It's a lot of desk and office jobs, so there's just a lot of sitting all day and not much focus on physical activity.
Mm.
That's one. The second one is around the time you see the spike in obese people, that's also when they came up with the food pyramid. And they said that carbs was the food group that you should eat the most of. And it was like
Mm.
cereals, grains, and things that weren't necessarily healthy. So those two things combined, I think, really just in America, like obese people, are like, oh, cool, I can eat a lot of sugary shit, and I don't have to go anywhere. Bingo,
Mm. What state in America are you in?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Which state in the US do you think is like the most unhealthy?
Most unhealthy.
Would you say
Ooh.
California? That would
No,
be
I
my
think
pick.
California is way more health conscious.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
Cal. Yeah, when it comes to California, well, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
big time. It's probably gonna be somewhere in the South. I'm gonna go with like Georgia or Louisiana. Oh,
Oh
probably
shit.
Louisiana. Yeah.
Oh boy. Uh,
hmm
so what about supplements? Like when should somebody like start implementing some supplements? At least the basics. And what would the basics be for you?
Yeah. So again, first is nutrition. I always try to tell
Mm.
people supplements are supplemental for what's missing
I
through your food.
can I interrupt you real quick? I heard
Yeah.
this quote, supplements are a waste of money if you don't know how to eat.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
yeah.
perfect. Exactly. A lot of people think they're like, no, they're there to fill in the gaps of what you may not be getting from your food. So first, get as much as you can from whole food. But again, like I said,
Mhm.
if you're trying to lose weight, then you may be in a calorie restriction, so you may need supplements. Same thing if you're
Mm.
trying to gain weight and you're trying to get more calories in, right? But so I would say first is nutrition, but the supplements that I do recommend for most people starting out are a multivitamin, because again, that's just going to make sure you're getting all the vitamins and minerals that you may be missing from your food. The second one is vitamin D3 and K2,
Mm.
because with the American diet, just in general, we a lot of people have vitamin D deficiency because we're not
Mm.
out in the sun a lot. Like I said, we're in buildings, working in offices, things like that. And then D3 and K2, the way they absorb, they work together, kind of like synergistic. So it's just easier to
Mm.
just buy them both together. Fish oil is another great one because not only does it help with hormone health, but it helps with your eyes, um, getting your healthy fats in, your essential fatty acids, and that's also good for joint health. And then the last one is usually a B complex vitamin, because
Mm.
again, a lot of people do have vitamin B deficiencies. It's most like B6 and B12. But the B complex is just going to give you all the B vitamins you need. And since they're water soluble, whatever your body doesn't need or has enough of, it will just literally pee out. So it's not necessarily harmful to take more.
Hmm. Wouldn't Ozempic be on the list?
Man, if someone tells me they're on zipping, I go, I'm like, hey, so like, do you really want to change your life or are you just trying to lose some weight real fast? If you really want to change your life, stop taking the drug immediately. Immediately.
uh, so how do you optimize testosterone?
Mm. So there's three things. Again, we always have to go back to nutrition. There are certain foods, herbs you can eat that tell the body or encourage the body to produce more testosterone if you have low testosterone. If you already have like normal to high testosterone, they're not going to do much more,
Mm.
but that's the big one. Second one is working out, especially legs. So whenever you train legs, your body um, releases more growth hormone, and again,
Mm.
that's going to optimize testosterone. And three is sex. Have sex. That one just speaks for itself.
Yeah. You know, I feel like a lot of guys jerk off and stuff.
Dude, that will. I've been a young kid, been there, done that. I get it. Um, dude, yeah, that'll because it kills your drive because then
Mm.
you're not seeking any sort of thrill or anything really. You're just looking at pixels on a screen.
You know,
And
you know what? I once saw some stupid study, bro, and it was like, oh my goodness! It said like, watching porn 1 hour before the gym will increase your testosterone or some shit. And I'm like, really? What
okay,
the fuck?
so I,
Oh
I
god.
this was like years ago, but
Mm.
I saw something one time where they said the same thing about like watching porn before you like go out to the club, but not necessarily masturbating, just
Oh.
watching it
Mm.
because it supposedly makes you feel like you're in competition with other men, which I guess that was like the bullshit they were feeding.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I remember watching on TV and being like, huh,
Mm.
interesting.
Mm. I wanted to ask you, there are like, what do you think about those guys that I see they're not just in the U.S. They're in Europe too. They're always these guys at the gym that just go in this winter arc and they just put a hoodie up and just try to be all lone wolf and bullshit. And instead, I always took the approach. Even on my first day to the gym, I was trying to make friends in the gym, and I was like, "What do you think about if you're starting to go to the gym and you're nervous, let's say, how do you start socializing in the gym?"
I think one of the easiest ways to start socializing in the gym is to ask somebody to spot you on an exercise. Like,
Mm.
let's say you're doing the bench press and there's a guy that you see in the gym who kind of has a physique that, you may like, or you're like, hey, I kind of like the way the guy works out. Ask him to spot you, and then that's a good way to like start the conversation and connection because then you can like ask him questions and things like that and kind of like build a friendship. So it's probably one of the easiest ways.
Yeah. You know what I really hate is in the locker rooms. Those dudes that walk around naked and don't even put a towel in front of their dick. I'm
Dude, no, I stay out of locker rooms as much as possible. I go in there, go to the bathroom, then I'm out. I'm not hanging
like,
out in the locker
uh,
rooms. The same thing in the sauna. Dudes that's in the sauna, just legs wide open, balls. I'm like, bro, come on.
oh
Seriously.
my goodness. Yo, there's a quick tip. Whenever you're going to the sauna, if you put a towel that's you put it into cold water like wet and you sit on that, you keep your balls cool so you don't because sauna can decrease your testosterone because of heating in your
Ah.
balls. So
Yeah, same thing
yo,
with like taking spending too much time in the hot tub or
yeah,
taking really hot baths.
yeah. I mean, yeah, because you're literally like dipping your balls into hot water, and that literally is killing your fucking sperm count. Yeah, fucking hell. So let's talk about your journey. So how about what was your first competition in bodybuilding, and what was
My
that
first
like?
competition, oh man, that was 2017. I
Mm.
came in third. And I'm not gonna lie, at that point, I think I was way too arrogant in myself and didn't know enough about the sport.
What
I
do you
thought
mean?
that because, well, because I thought that just because I thought I looked the best, the judges should think I look the best, which obviously isn't the case. It's a competition, right? Two, I was competing against guys who were on steroids, had been on steroids, had been competing for a while. This is my first ever show. I've been working out seriously for like
Mm,
7 months, right? So like I was
mm,
kind of delusional. Think I was gonna go out there and just crush it, like, yeah, I'm gonna kill it. I look the best ever. But I came in third, which is pretty good. And afterwards, though, I was so mad. I was talking to my coach. I was like, "Yeah, this is bullshit. These just know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm the shit." He was like, "Bro, listen, calm down. Just, it's okay." He goes, "You did
mm,
good. You placed third, and there were 26 people in my class." So he goes, "There are 23 people who placed below you, and 21
mm,
people who didn't place at all. They walked home with nothing.
mm,
So you did good for your first show." And yeah, after that, I kind of like really started looking more into the sport and realizing what the sport was about. Because again, when I first started, I didn't know anything about bodybuilding but Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I
mm,
looked at a few pictures online. I was like, oh yeah, this looks cool. I'll do it.
mm.
So yeah, that was my first show. But it was a great experience. It was a huge show. I met friends there that I'm still friends with in the bodybuilding community. So that's one thing I do love about it. We're all here chasing the same dream.
What's one thing about bodybuilding that's kind of like overlooked or people don't see? People don't realize. People don't know about bodybuilders, like what they actually go through during prep, for example.
Oh yeah, bodybuilding is probably one of the most unhealthiest sports I've ever been a part of.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Uh, because again, we go to the gym not necessarily just to work out, but to literally destroy our bodies.
Mm,
And then whenever we cut down for a show, we literally like you starve your body to the point where you're 2% body fat. That is not healthy.
mm,
That is not attainable. That is a lot of stress on your body. And we try to maintain that for, weeks, maybe months at a time if you're going to compete in multiple shows.
mm,
So a lot of people mess up their hormones in bodybuilding, especially women,
mm,
because they get so lean. And especially if you're natural, your natural hormones will shut down,
mm,
and then once you start trying to get back to a healthy weight, it's kind of hard to tell your body to start producing these hormones again. So that's one thing I'd say because we look great, we look shredded on stage, we look great in pictures on Instagram, but the other side, it's super, I'd say, unhealthy.
mm. How does it feel to be on that stage, like literally, after all the hard work, and now finally being able to show something for it?
If you do everything you're supposed to do, it feels amazing because you know you look the best that you possibly could. It feels
Mm.
even better when you win. I've got a couple of my trophies back there behind me. Like, it feels better when you win. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, it feels good. Like I said, if you did all your cardio, you hit every workout, you were 100% on your meals, you didn't cheat, you didn't fuck off, you didn't dick around, then just the reward of looking your absolute best, yeah, feels great.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
when you do dick off, because I've done that before, two, you get on stage and you already know in your head, I was dicking off and fucking up. I don't look my best. And so then because you know that, you don't
Mm,
pose that well because you're trying to overcompensate for, yeah. So again,
mm,
if you do everything you're supposed to do, it feels great. If you fuck around, then you feel like you fucked around, and then you can't be mad
mm.
anymore about yourself when you lose.
Who's someone in the space that you're kinda like taking inspiration from? For example, I want to talk about Horace Bumstead just retired, and what do you think about that?
Um, Honestly, what else was he gonna do? I feel
Mm,
like Chris. So if you look at the history of bodybuilding, um,
mm,
most of the best bodybuilders, Arnold Schwarzenegger, um, Lee Haney, Dorian Yates, they were never beat. They all retired because you just point where you're winning so much, and it's just like
mm,
I could keep winning forever, or I could retire and go live my life now. So I think he was at that point where he could have just
mm,
kept winning until he decided to retire. That's how I feel about it. So, you know, he's been doing it for like what? He's been Mr. Olympia for the past 6 years. He was competing, so at least almost a decade that he's dedicated to that. I
mm.
think he'll live his life now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially now that he's a father, actually, I'm happy for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucking 5 times in a row, like that's fucking impressive.
Yeah.
So, who's someone like that you're taking inspiration from? Compare like someone from modern age. Is there someone that I don't know that inspires you right
Modern age, I'm going to have to say no.
now?
Honestly, it just no. As far as bodybuilders, the latest era of bodybuilding that I aspired to was like late '90s, early 2000s. Kevin
Mm.
Levrone,
Ah,
Flex
yeah.
Wheeler, like that era of bodybuilders, because that's when I felt like bodybuilding was still really about diet and physique and not just about us getting as big as possible. Because once it got there, it was
Yeah.
just,
Yo,
yeah, they're big, but they don't look great.
I mean, people like Mark Rule, he
Yeah,
looked like huge.
massive.
That's
That
almost
dude was
scary.
massive.
Yeah. I'm like, how does a human get to that like that big? What the fuck?
Dude, like I said, part of it is genetics, and the other part is obviously, the drugs.
uh, so we covered that sleep is pretty important. How do you
Yeah,
optimize sleep? Because I want to just say something. Sleep, there's such thing as sleep efficiency, right? Whereas
yeah.
some people have like really shit sleep efficiency, like fucking 50 something percent, 60, and some people have
Hmm.
like 70 something percent. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you lay in bed for 10 hours and you sleep 6 out of that. Like imagine how do you fix that?
So, I mean, there's a few things. The things that work for me are meditating. A
Mm,
lot of people don't sleep well because even though their body shuts down, their brain just keeps going, keeps firing because they're
yeah.
stressed out and worried about whatever. So meditating, and I don't think it's easy. Meditating is probably one of the hardest things to do because you have to, one, be still, which is hard for people to just sit in one spot for an extended period of time. But two, you have to be still and be aware. And since we
Yeah.
have such short attention spans, it's so easy for your thoughts to just wander, 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 and it's hard to kind of bring them back to the center of what you're doing. So for me, meditating gets to the point where I can not only shut my body down, but get my brain to kind of quiet down as well, allows me to sleep a little more peacefully. I've also used things like white noise, like different sounds that I can kind of listen to again, just to get my brain to like focus on one track and kind of like drift off into sleep. Um, Other than that, I mean, again, diet. If you eat high inflammatory foods, you're not going to get great
Mm.
quality sleep. If you're, well, I can't even say that because they did studies that say if you spike your insulin before bed, you actually sleep better because you get that little crash and then you're just like, out.
Oh god. Like
Yeah,
some dudes say, bro, I can't go to sleep without jerking off, and I'm like, bro, you just made it a habit. Like now you're
yeah,
even more fucked. Now you got an
yeah,
addiction and a bad habit.
God, yeah,
Honestly, I think that sleep quality can be like really improved if you don't have like blue light. Yeah, like literally people fall asleep in front of the TV, and
yeah.
then like li- also they sleep in a room that's just too hot, and your body
Mhm.
just you wake up in the middle of the night 1,000 times. Yeah, I feel like keeping a dark room where it's like kind of like not cold, but like it's not hot in there, and you also
Yeah.
don't have fucking TV screen like literally beaming on you.
I'll say that, and like not drinking water too close to you go to bed because obviously you wake up in the middle of the night to pee. I hate that,
Mm.
especially if I'm in a really good dream. I wake up to go pee. I'm like, fuck.
Ew, that happened actually a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's like I try to cut out water like at least an hour before bed. That way, I get my last little pee out before I go to sleep, and I sleep peacefully. But
Mm.
yeah, those are some good points.
How do
And
you
then too, like
how do you
I was
get
gonna say,
through? Oh, go ahead. What did you
like,
say?
I was gonna say, like you can use like again herbs, melatonin, so other things like drinking tea before bed, like hot tea, to kind of calm your body down. Uh, Lavender scents, like there's different like things you can use to
Mm.
help enhance or kind of like lull you to sleep.
Mm.
So there's that too.
Mm. How do you people that start going to the gym, they feel like this is, oh, I'm gonna get a six pack and then I'm good, or some bullshit like that. Like you have to maintain it, obviously. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you turn it from something you like have to force yourself to do from the beginning until you make it a habit into a lifestyle? And how do you get through the days when you don't feel like it in the beginning? And because honestly, after you go to the gym for like the first 2 3 months, it was for me. I was looking forward to the gym. It was like a habit.
Yeah.
How do you get more used to it? In your opinion?
One, have a goal and like a
Mm,
very specific goal. So I'm sure you heard of like SMART goals, like
yeah.
yeah. So set a SMART goal so it's very specific. You know
Mm,
what you're trying to reach, and after that, it's honestly just discipline. I think motivation can be good, but at the end of the day, it's discipline because there are going to be days when you're not motivated, days when you don't want to do it, days when you don't feel like it, but
yeah.
you just have to do. You just have to go because then you build the habit because you look forward to it. Because like the days you don't want to go, honestly, you usually have some of your best workouts.
Yeah, man. Like, literally, I really don't want to fucking go. I get in the fucking car. I go there, and by the time I'm like on the first set of squats, I'm like, you know what? I got some really good music, like fucking
Yeah.
Thunderstruck, AC/DC, like
Yo, that's
blasting.
like my theme song right there.
I'm like, you know what? Yeah, fuck this. I'm glad I'm here. But it's
Yeah.
like, you have to convince your, I call it your bitch voice from the beginning to literally
Hmm.
make that first step of stepping inside the gym, and then you kind of feel like it once you're already in there.
Yeah, you just have to go. It's like
Mm.
I always try to tell myself if I can't do the things for myself I say I'm gonna do, then how can I ever get anyone else to believe that I'm gonna do the things I say I'm gonna do? Because I don't believe it because I haven't done it to, for me. So I think that's a lot of people mess up too. They make promises to themselves and then they don't follow through and it kind of affects the rest of their life
Ah,
negatively.
yeah, man, what the fuck? Yo, I always take a cold shower before the gym because after a workout can like mess up your hypertrophy. So but what do you think about cold showers and cold plunges, etc.?
So I too, I like cold showers. I usually do mine just like whenever I shower. Sometimes it's in the morning, to start my day, and then sometimes it's
Yeah.
before bed. But I like cold showers. I like cold therapy. I think it's been overhyped and it's being overused. But I think like once you really nail down what it's for, how to use it, when to use it, then it's a great tool not only for recovery but for mental
Mm,
fortitude because again sitting your body in ice cold water is hard, you want to get out.
mm.
But yeah, I think it's useful.
Mm. My gym, we have a sauna and a cold plunge. So what I do is like, I did it like twice in the past month. I did it only twice, but it's like the cold and hot exposure of 3 rounds. As you go in
Dude,
this, I
yes.
yeah, I go into the sauna for 5 minutes. Then I go 60 seconds into the cold plunge, and I go
Mhm.
another 5 minutes in the sauna, and then another 1 minute in the cold plunge. And on the last round, 5 minutes in the sauna, and then 3 minutes in the cold plunge. I'm telling you, bro, I was like dying there. I was like, bro, I got so used to the hot now in the sauna, and now it's
Yeah.
such a shock.
Dude, I've used this for myself and other people. It's a little longer. So again, we talked about recovery. Sauna and cold plunge are good recovery tools. They also will boost your immunity if you use them in this way. So whenever I
Mm,
have clients or whenever I get sick, like flu, cold, or whatever, I always say, so we're gonna do, like I said, 3 rounds. You're gonna
mm.
do 20 minutes in the sauna. You're gonna do 5 minute cold shower.
Oh
You're gonna go
shit.
back and forth 3 times. And dude, within like a day or two, gone gone. Like it feel great. I don't know what it like I said, I read some articles, so that's what made me try it, but like it works. The shit is crazy.
Mm. What do you think about those? And I got no idea if this shit works or not, but the red light therapy and all this shit. What do you
I'm
think
with you.
about
I know I haven't looked into it, I haven't studied it. I know zero about it. I've seen it. It looks cool. I don't know.
that?
I don't even know what it's supposed to do.
Something with
Not
recovery. I mean, we have it at my gym, and but I never tried it because I don't like. I'm kind of scared to put that fucking radiation, like lay there for 10 minutes, and like I don't know how it's gonna feel. What does it do? I'm like, I don't see anybody going in there. I'm like, what does it actually do? Like just red light beaming
Yeah.
onto me? What's the point of that? I'm not like I'm skeptical about it, but I'm not also like completely closed off about it. But if someone can pitch me and explain to me perfectly what it is, maybe. But fuck me.
Dude, I'd rather go lay out in the grass in the sun. That
Mm,
sounds like
yeah,
it might be better
yeah.
than red light therapy, honestly.
Oh my goodness. So stretching. A lot of guys skip stretching. Why do you think that is?
They don't think they have to. They think they're too cool. It takes too much time. I don't know. Uh, that is one thing I will say. When I was younger, I did not prioritize, and then as I got
Mm,
older, I started to realize that I should have prioritized, which is crazy because when you play sports, the first thing you do
mm,
before any practice, any game, is you stretch and you warm up. But for some reason, you start lifting weights, and you think that I don't have to do that kind of stuff anymore. And then you get
mm,
injured, and you're like, "Oh, maybe if I had stretched and warmed up, I wouldn't be hurt."
mm,
So I've incorporated a lot more the last few years. Um, and when I don't do it, I can tell a major difference. Not only I have a lot more
mm.
pain, I'm stiffer, my body doesn't move as well, I'm not as strong.
Yeah,
So I think doing a good warm up before your workout, 5-10 minutes, and then at least stretching for 5 minutes after your
yeah.
workout is probably the most beneficial.
Mm. Like I it kind of like I have to stretch because I'm trying to balance like boxing and gym, right? I'm trying to like
Yeah.
I'm still staying like lean, but also it's like a benefit because I'm lighter and I'm lighter weight, and I just like it. But also being flexible and also being mobile is like you don't want to be that big guy that can't fucking touch his back, like or
Yeah,
like
exactly.
fucking hell. I see that so many times that they can't even touch their toes a lot of times.
Dude,
Their
that and
hamstrings.
like I've I have some people that I've talked to in the gym that would say like, especially older guys in their late 30s,
Mm.
40s, they go to like a family event and all the kids are outside running. They're like, oh, they go to run and they like pull a hamstring. And I'm like, dude, it's because you don't stretch. You've just been doing squats and leg press for the past 3 years. Of course, you can't go sprint with a bunch of teenagers. You're gonna get hurt.
Oh god, man, what
So that's
the
why I know my limits. I'm not running from
fuck?
anything because I know it is not gonna go well. Because I haven't ran in I don't know how long.
Mm. What's what's like your routine before the gym? Like, first of all, like, do you take any carbs before the gym or any something before the gym or like what? I don't know. What's your routine before the gym? Something quick.
Yeah. So most of the time I eat like right before the gym, like within 30 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. I like to first I like to have at least 2 meals in me for the gym
Mm,
because again, I'm training for growth. So I want to make sure I have enough food in me, especially carbs, so I can work out hard.
mm,
Um, and then yeah, I don't like getting that hungry feeling mid-workout. I like to like stay full. I don't know. I get a lot of slack about it because
mm,
like the energy that your body is using to digest the food could be used for your workouts, but it's working for
mm,
me. Like, so it's
mm.
fine. But yeah, I usually eat at the most within an hour of the gym, so that food is accessible to me while I'm working out.
Hmm. I usually train fasted, and I feel like it's just like I'm more in the moment. I just like I'm more mindful in that each and every rep. I just feel like whenever I have eaten one or two bananas before the gym, I literally whenever I rest between the sets, I start scrolling on Instagram, for
Yeah.
example, some shit.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I have to like snap out of it, and I'm like, when I'm fasted, that shit doesn't happen. But I will say water with like squeezed lemon and a pinch of salt. That's the best pre-workout for me.
Oh yeah, dude. I had a video where and I do this especially in the summertime when I can get fresh
Mm,
watermelon, beetroot powder, and pink Himalayan salt are like all I need for pre-workout.
mm.
And the pump is out of this world. It's better than with any supplement I've ever taken in my life. Like just those three things.
Interesting. So, if there was a guy that was skinny and trying to gain weight, but trying not to dirty bulk, not to get fat as fuck, not to get like Sam Sula type of 2 liters of chocolate milk to gain weight. No,
Yeah.
trying to gain weight in a good way without getting fucking fat. How would he do it?
First thing is always going to be find out how many calories you're burning. We can't grow what we don't know, so we need our baseline numbers
Mm,
first. If you're lean bulking, I would say 250 to 500 calories surplus per day.
mm,
That would be as far as diet. Then of course train hard, stay hydrated. Um, if you stay lean, it's a lot easier to track progress. It's going to come a lot slower because you're staying lean. Um,
mm,
but yeah, that's what I'd say.
mm,
Yeah, 250 to 500 calorie surplus. Yeah,
mm.
high protein.
Do you feel like a lot of people, like a lot of guys, like one time they bulk for a couple of weeks, but they didn't see a guy with a six pack, so now they want to cut. But then they see a guy is bigger than them. Now I want to bulk, and they switch between it, and they never
Yeah,
stick to any of it. Why do you think that is?
because what do they say? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm,
You're always comparing yourself
fuck.
to the next person instead of comparing yourself to the future version of yourself. So one of my favorite quotes comes from Matthew McConaughey, the actor, and he talks about um when he was growing up, somebody asked him who was his hero, and he says, "Well, my hero is me in 10 years." And
mm,
so 10 years goes by, and he goes, "Who's your hero now?" He goes, "Well, it's me in another 10 years." So he's always chasing a better version of himself instead of chasing different versions of other people.
fucking hell, that's genius, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Mm. Why do people quit in the gym?
One, because they think that motivation is real and they lack the discipline. They do.
Mm,
Once they become unmotivated, they don't go anymore.
mm,
Two, I think sometimes people try to take this journey alone and you don't have
mm.
to. So like we're talking about earlier, like finding a friend or someone who really keeps you accountable. Because I have a gym buddy, I go to the gym with
Yeah.
him at least 3 or 4 days a week, and there are days where we don't want to go, but we'll text each other and it's like,
Mm,
"Hey, we're still going to the gym. I will see you at two
yeah.
o'clock." You know? So that helps. Another one is people think it's a quick fix. Talked about earlier, they're going to see results in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They're not really dedicated. So if they don't see results immediately, they think it's not working. And even if it's not working, instead of figuring out what's not working or why it's not working,
Mm.
they just quit. And they're like, "Oh, well, I tried it. It didn't work. I'm not going back."
You
And they're
know,
just
I
quitters.
I heard this quote like from Ali Ibrahim. He said, "Set systems, not goals." And I'm like,
Mm,
he used that analogy when he was building his YouTube channel, but this can be transferred to the gym. He was like, first of all, his first goal was 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. He hit that, but he was like, one video a day for 180 days. We'll see where that gets me.
yeah,
The same he you can use in the gym. Literally, I will train 5 days a week, 4 days, 5 days a week for 5 years. We'll see where that gets me. And by the time you're in fucking first few months in, you already want to continue. You don't see an
yeah,
end goal. You want to do this. I always love seeing those 60-year-old dudes in my gym because that's just
yes.
like, that's gonna be me in fucking 43 years from now.
I agree 100%. I love those dudes because those are the guys that come up to me because, like I said, I'm big, I'm strong, I'm lifting heavy weights and stuff. And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh man, you're killing." I go, "Listen, you're 60 plus years old and you're here
Mm,
every day. I want to be you
yeah.
when I grow up." It's easy for me now because I'm young. I'm in my 30s. It's easy for me to go to the gym every day and be strong and But like
Mm,
if I could do it when I'm 60, 70. Like, there's been old guys at the gym who are, I mean, it's kind of sad to think about, but at the same time, it's not because they live their life, but
mm,
they're in their 70s, 80s. They're in the gym one day, the next day, life happens and they die.
mm,
But I know I'm like, that dude was in here every day doing what he loved doing, having a good time until it was his
yeah.
time to go. So I'd much rather be that person. It's about longevity for me. I want to be able to
Yeah.
go to the gym when I'm 60, when I'm 70, take my kids, grandkids to the
Mm.
gym, all that.
How old are you, by the way?
33.
33. Oh shit.
Yeah.
You look good, man.
You
Um
know what they say.
yeah. I'm 17. I started going to the gym when I was 15.
Yeah.
And I nowadays see like guys like that are 14 and 13 in the gym, and I'm like, that's so wholesome to see at some point. It's like
Yeah,
actually nice to see, bro. At 16, a dude that's fucking jacked because he's been going to the gym for 4 years, 3 years. Like, holy shit, bro. I think
dude.
that I think that these dudes that start at 13, once they get to like fucking 31 and they're on that stage, they're gonna be looking like fucking crazy.
Dude, those are the guys that are in their like mid 20s on stage. Like
Yeah.
Chris Bumstead's like what 26 or 28 now, and he's been
I
competing
think he's
for.
older, but I'm not sure.
I don't think he's hit 30 yet. I think he's still in his
Mm.
20s.
Hmm.
But again, he's been on the Olympia stage for the last
Yeah.
7 8 years because he's been working out since he was a teenager. You
Yeah.
know. So yeah, it's crazy. The gym I used to go to, there were triplets. So it was two boys and a girl. And I mean, they're like 16 years old, deadlifting, 315, 365. And I'm like, bro, that is like, there's
Yeah.
grown men that can't do that.
Yo, when do you hit your peak? What age do you think you peak?
As far as like,
Like in terms of like physique, strength, health.
mm, this, I would probably say mid 30s is where, if you've done things right, things can get better. So after like mid 30s, 35, 36, especially when you look at bodybuilders, this is when they get that really, really just like dense, hard muscle, like the muscle maturity happens.
Mm.
And I'm not sure what it is because supposedly your testosterone declines around that time. But that's what I call that old man muscle. Like I know guys in their 40s that have been lifting for 20 years that are like benching 500 plus pounds. And I'm
Yeah,
like, but
crazy.
it's just old man. They've been doing it for so long.
Mm.
Got that old man strength. So yeah, I think you probably peak around there if your diet and everything is right, especially here in America, because our food is so processed and it's so shitty. You have to work so hard to get clean, quality food, man.
Hmm.
Fuck.
Yo, like if you've been eating McDonald's all your 20s, I don't think you're gonna peak in
Oh,
your
dude, you're never gonna
30s.
peak. You peaked in high school. You peaked in high school. You're done.
Yeah.
If
Peak
you've
my
been working
ass.
out, your 30s is where you peak.
Yeah. McDonald's or your 20s, I'm gonna peak in my 30s. Peak my ass.
No, no, no. I mean, it's never too late. I know some people who started later and they're in their 50s and they look great, but it's like you would have looked a lot better if you'd
Hmm.
started earlier. But it's
Hmm.
never too late. People gotta live their lives. I get it.
Hmm. Is there any way to get rid of loose skin?
Other than surgery, no.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like quitting at some point?
I never felt like quitting going to the gym. Um,
Hmm.
that to me again, it's more discipline than anything. It's what I know and what I've known for almost a decade. So if I don't go to the gym, it feels weird.
Hmm.
If I eat too shitty for more than
Yeah.
3 or 4 days, it feels weird. I'm like, I don't feel good.
You know what's crazy? I've been going to the gym for 2.5 years, and I can literally relate to what you just said because
Yeah.
it's been like such a part of my life, like a lifestyle, that like it's weird eating a pizza, kind of like like I have
Yeah.
that anxious thought, and now I don't even enjoy the taste because I have like that anxious thought of holy shit, this is gonna make me feel and look like crap.
Yeah. So there's that. Um, God, what was the original question again? I forgot.
Did you ever feel like quitting at
Oh
some
yeah, I feel
point?
like quitting. There were times where I don't say I felt like quitting bodybuilding because I still want to compete. It
Hmm.
just it wasn't as important to me anymore.
In what sense?
Like there was a point in time where I would eat, sleep, and breathe bodybuilding sun up to
Hmm.
sundown. Like that was just my entire life. And at this point, it's just not my entire life anymore. And it's just because like I'm focused on really building a future for myself, my future family.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me right now is more important. I know that the bodybuilding stage will always be there if and when I decide to go back. So, and I mean, even as I get older, they have masters divisions for 35 and up. And the older you get, they have like 40 and up, 45 and up. So there's always going to be a place for me to go and bodybuild when I'm ready to do that. Like when I can sustain it, when it's not stressful for my life, when I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about, waking up, going to work, paying bills, and I can just like focus solely
Yeah.
on bodybuilding, then that's probably when I get back into it because I still love the sport. I still love going to the gym. I love practicing my posing. Um, I love getting better.
Mm.
So I haven't given up on bodybuilding. It's just it's not a front runner anymore.
Hmm. Do you have haters?
Oh, of course.
What did they say?
Dude, one, the haters, no matter what type of advice I give as far as like fitness and nutrition, there no one is, oh, trend, oh, steroids. I'm like, bro, of course, I've never claimed to be natty. I've never denied I've taken steroids. You have to understand all the things that I do, and I did before. Like I trained really hard nationally. I said 4 or 5 years, competed. I won my first show naturally, but then I decided, like I said, to go to the next level, I needed to speed up the pace. But I
Mm.
had a solid foundation. And so that's what I try to teach people. I'm like, hey, you can still build a solid foundation. You don't have to take drugs. You can look good without them if you focus on
Mm.
dieting, working out hard, getting enough water, and sleeping.
Mm.
So yeah, that's
How do
that's the biggest
you
thing.
how does somebody like what do you think about fasting?
Very useful, very beneficial,
Mm.
depending on your goals. Again, so like whether you're trying to gain weight or lose weight, it's not necessarily a daily average. It's usually like a weekly average. So even if I'm bulking, I can fast for a day. I just have to increase my calories on the days that I'm
Mm-hmm.
eating. I think fasting is good. One, like mentally, because again, we talked about discipline
Yeah.
before. It's so easy to just grab something and put it in your mouth, like not even think about it.
Yeah.
So to have the discipline to not eat for an entire day is good. Another thing is like once or twice a year, I'll do like a 2 to 3 day fast. And again, it's a discipline
Yeah.
thing, but it's also too, so like after like 48 hours of not eating, your body literally starts to like get rid of all the cancerous cells and like disease inside of your
Mm.
body. So I kind of treat it as like a reset. So I'll do that, like I said, at least once, sometimes twice a year, just to like really just renew my body in a sense.
Yeah. I did that earlier this year in like May. I did a 72-hour fast which turned into a 76-hour fast accidentally.
Ooh.
Uh but yeah, that was during the in about March. I weighed like in pounds it would be 195,
Yeah.
195 pounds at 16 years old. And
Hmm.
then I by the end of July, which means it was like about 4 months, I was like 150 or 147 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like from 87 kilos to 68 kilos, 19 kilos. That's like 40 pounds, 40 something. And
Yeah.
yeah, I did like a 16-hour fast twice a week, and that was
Hmm.
like kind of crazy. Like my weights dropped a lot. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, but I must say that I still looked. I saw my six pack for the first time in my life, and if you
Yeah.
remember how that feels, seeing your six pack for the first time in your life, for me it was the first time. I felt amazing when I saw that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that skinny as I thought. Then I put on another 15 pounds. And now I look very good. I like my physique. And I'm finally like
Yeah.
happy. I don't want to cut. I don't want to bulk. I want to stay at this weight and slowly gain weight like naturally,
Yeah.
but I still want to eat what I eat. And I just like how I look now, and I feel healthy.
Dude, that's one of the most important things
Mm.
because if you don't like looking at yourself in the mirror, how
Yeah.
can you go through life and truly say you're happy? Like it literally
Truly.
starts with when I wake up in the morning, I go take
Yeah.
a shower and I step out. Can I look at myself and be like,
Yeah.
I like this? You know what I'm saying? Like one of my favorite quotes is if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you do good. And if you do good, you get
Mm.
good results.
Holy shit.
But it starts with looking good.
Yeah. I feel like after a while it might look, you can tell me better than I could predict, but I think you get used to looking good after a while, but for me, 2 years ago I was skinny fat. And
Hmm.
now I'm still like it's weird because even after 2 years I can still look at myself in the mirror. I'm like still flexing my abs and I still like what the fuck, man? Like it these past 2 years just flew by like nothing. And I
Yeah.
still like I'm not in the identity of the skinny fat kid anymore, right? But I still like it's like I'm still not will it sound weird if I say I'm not used to having a six pack even though I have it for like past
No,
few months?
dude, that's a real thing. It's called body dysmorphia. It happens to all of us. So like I'm gonna say this without trying to sound arrogant. I am jacked. Okay? Like I'm a big fella.
Yeah,
I wear 2X shirts.
yeah.
There are days where I look in the mirror and I'm like, you skinny little bitch. Because I remember being a 150-pound kid. I was 150 pounds up until my early to mid 20s. So
uh,
I've seen myself like that for so long that even though
mm,
like now I weigh 210, 215 pounds, sometimes I still look in the mirror and I
mm,
see 150 pounds, 160 pounds. It's
mm.
crazy. The brain does such weird shit like that.
Holy shit, man. Yeah, it's like kind of getting used to it, but also like still like being like kind of
Yeah.
surprised at how. Yeah, this
But
is
that's
just a.
why too, like so many people, whenever we're helping them lose weight, um, and I try to tell people that you can eat food and
Mm.
lose weight. You don't have to starve yourself. But because they're so used to eating food and gaining weight, it's such a hard concept to like get them to understand it's okay to eat. You don't have to starve yourself. Actually, if you feed your body a little bit more, then it will let go of the fat that's holding on to.
Mm.
So, but again, it's that body dysmorphia because in their brain, they equate I eat food with I gain weight.
Yeah. What are like some myths that you hate? A myth because honestly, stuff like fat makes you fat. No, sugar makes you fat. That's like for example one thing for me.
Well, let's see. Um, some of the myths that I hate, I don't know if I'd say myths, but some of the things that I really I don't like are like the fad diets.
Mm.
So um like intermittent fasting, keto, again, even carnivore, if you're not gonna stay in it for a long time. I
Mm.
don't like those because again, they give somebody a short-term result, but it's how long can you sustain
Mm.
that way of
Well,
eating?
there is. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Anthony Chaffee.
I don't think so.
Anyhow, he's like 49, but he looks like he's 30. He's like in
Yeah.
tip top shape and he's healthy as hell, but he's been on the carnivore diet for 6 years now.
Again, if that's sustainable for you, then
Mm,
absolutely. So I always tell people whatever nutritional habits are
mm,
going to be most sustainable for you in the long term is what you should do.
mm.
But don't say, "Oh, I'm going to try carnivore diet for a month and see how it goes." You're going to fail. You're going to fail because you've already told yourself, "I'm only trying this for a month to see what happens," and
Mm,
which means in your head you have an idea of what you want to happen, and
mm,
if that doesn't happen, you're going to assume the carnivore diet doesn't work.
mm. Yeah.
So yeah,
Also, I feel like as soon as people they say like they eat healthy, they get like in a loop that the past few days I've been eating real good. One
hmm.
day, they accidentally they have once
I love you accidentally.
they they have a slice of pizza from their friend that ordered pizza. Hey, they have only one slice and they're like, oh man, I ruined my diet. I might as well go all the way and eat the whole pizza. And I'm like, just
Mm,
because you fucked up once doesn't mean that you can just give up. Oh, I
right.
broke my diet anyway, so I might as well go all the way. No,
Oh,
I
I think
hate
that's,
that.
I think it's like an excuse people use.
Yeah.
People, like I said, people love to come up with excuses and basically any way to justify why they failed. Like I said,
Yeah.
oh, I already had one fight, so I may as well have two. No. So you had 300 extra calories. Big whoop. Now you ate a whole
Yeah.
pizza, so you had 1,200 extra calories. You could have
Yeah.
stopped after one slice.
Yeah.
You
And
didn't have to keep going.
it's actually the same thing with like guys like this thing called no fap. They're like no fap streak, like 60 days without jerking off. But one day they fuck it up. They jerked off. Hey, I jerked off already this morning, so I might as well go the second time. And I'm like, bro, oh, I had one
No,
cigarette, so I might as well have the second one. It's like
no.
people just they're not willing to save the situation. Like
Yeah.
literally save the situation. Don't give up. You know. Like literally, you fucked up once doesn't mean that you can. It's ruined. It's not ruined.
Or it's like they wanted to do it all along, and since they finally did
Ah,
it and broke down, they're like, "Well,
ah,
now now I can do it. I already did it once."
didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Fuck
it's
me.
like, yeah, it's
Mm,
yeah, you can always after one, you can always just no, it's
mm.
fine.
What are some trends in the fitness industry that you didn't like?
Do do do. I don't like people trying to reinvent the wheel as far as exercises. Like I see shit online and I'm just like,
Oh my goodness.
what the fuck are you doing? Why do you feel that's necessary? There are already three really good exercises that do the exact same
Yeah.
thing you're doing that don't look fucking stupid. People just want to be different and I hate it.
Mm,
I hate it. Like, do the simple shit that works. It's been working for decades.
yeah.
You don't have to come up with new shit. You don't. Or like they'll do something like rename it, and I'm like, no, no, that's the same thing. That's yeah.
Oh my god.
Other trends, I would probably say people hopping on gear without doing their research
Uh,
because it's again, it's becoming more and more prevalent. Like I will say, like I said, I worked out naturally for 4 or 5 years before, and then I did my own research for a year or two before I even spoke to my coach
mm,
about wanting to take them. So by the time we got to that point, I was like, well, these are some of the drugs I've researched, that I've looked at. Here's what I'd be comfortable taking, and then here's what I'm not comfortable taking because I've
yeah.
done the research.
Mm,
So that made a difference. And there were times when he'd like give me dosages, and I'd be like, that's too much. I'm not taking that. I'm
mm,
gonna dial it back.
mm,
So yeah. Ooh, another thing. It's not really a trend, but it's so hard to like decipher between good information and bad information because there's so much information out there, and it's so contradictory. Like one study says eggs are good, one study says eggs are bad. Do I eat eggs? Do I not eat eggs? And again, people won't do their own research, so they won't go actually read the study to look at what the variables were. Okay, what did they eat with the eggs?
mm,
You know, did they just feed
yeah.
people 2 eggs a day and then say, "Hey, go about the rest of your day, eat like you want to eat, and then come back tomorrow and we'll test your
Mm,
levels," or do they control these people's diet throughout the entire study? You know,
mm,
so yeah. Oh, and then on that same topic, all the science-based lifting. I get it. It's cool. It makes sense. The studies are awesome. But I have always admired old school bodybuilders. And one thing that they did because everyone's body operates differently is they would go to the gym, they would do an exercise, they would see how it felt for them, and they would decide, do I continue this or do I not? People don't do that anymore. They're just like, oh, what's the most optimal way for me to train my biceps? What's the most optimal way for me to train my
oh
back?
god.
And there's no such thing as optimal because all of our bodies move differently. We have different muscle bellies, different
Mm.
insertions, different length. Like some people's arms are longer than other people's arms. So what's optimal for somebody with short arms isn't going to be optimal for someone with long arms. But you have to
Mm,
go in the gym, try and exercise. Like I hate, I'll post content, and people will tag other people that are like, "Hey, is this right information? Is this optimal? Should I do this?" I'm like, "Bro, how do you just go to the gym,
mm.
try it out, see if you like it, see if it works, make your own decision."
Holy shit, man. You know,
Yeah.
I saw on Twitter once, like, there was like this one post that had a ridiculous amount of likes. It had like fucking maybe 60,000 likes, and it said, bodybuilding shows men should be naked because that shows the all the muscles properly because on the fucking how do you call it, the lower part of the abdomen, like they say that it would be optimal if bodybuilding shows were naked and 18 plus. And I'm like, bro, come on now. If a kid wants to watch his dad on stage, he doesn't need to see his cobra, like, you know.
Yeah, especially since a lot of
But
younger
a lot
people
of
are
I was
inspired by bodybuilding.
surprised at the amount of people who actually like considered that.
That's yeah, that's
Like that's
It's Twitter.
that's that's like a strip club at that point. Like what the fuck? Imagine
Yeah,
you being on
make it
stage
18 and up.
naked. Like
That's yeah,
holy
no,
shit.
I can't get behind that one.
Yeah. I'm like when I saw like had over 60,000 likes and fucking 5,000 retweets, I was like, what the fuck? People are actually thinking about this. I was like,
You know, these are the same people that are watching porn.
nah, I bet. I bet, bro. What the oh my goodness, bro. Holy shit. So I want to get in some rapid fire questions before we wrap up.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's do it.
How often do you train a week?
5 days a week at least.
Who's your favorite bodybuilder of all time?
Favorite of all time? It's between Lee Haney and Frank Zane. It's a tough one.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the best advice you've been given?
Best advice I've been given is really just focus on yourself. Because like we talked about earlier, it's so hard to get distracted, comparing yourself to other people. Focus on you. One of the
Mm,
most really motivating, I think, things for me is when I look at um, some of the people who have achieved greatness who didn't achieve it until like later life, like their 40s, 50s. So it's like
mm,
your timeline isn't someone else's timeline. Somebody may achieve something that you want to achieve earlier than you do, but it's just not your time yet. So
mm.
just focus on yourself.
What's the worst advice you've ever been given?
That's hard because if it was bad advice, I didn't take it and I filed it away and I just like in one ear out the other. So I don't
Mm,
even know.
there's nobody like trying to give you some advice that you know is bullshit.
Honestly, any this is gonna sound kind of fucked up, but anytime somebody's smaller than me trying to tell me how to live, I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, look at
uh,
you. Go sit down.
do you have a favorite quote?
My favorite quote is hope for the best, expect the worst.
Mm, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What's the proudest moment in your life?
Proudest moment, man. I don't know that I've had a proudest moment yet. And that's because I don't know.
So
I think
far.
it's I thought about that question. It's hard to say because I really just don't know. Like I've had a lot of good moments, but I also know that I haven't reached anywhere close to my full potential. So it's hard for me to like really be proud and appreciate those, even though I've done some great things, like not even just in
Yeah.
bodybuilding, like when I was doing hair as well. Like I look back and I forget sometimes, like, oh snap, I did do that. But I still know that there's so much more for me to do. So it's hard for me to say, oh, this is my proudest moment. It's just,
Mm,
yeah, I just can't pick one. It's hard for me to really say that right
mm.
now.
Describe yourself in 2 words.
2 words, absolutely crazy.
What's the purpose of life?
To be,
Hmm.
just to be. I think so many people get caught up on what is my purpose. So one of the reasons I started going by tree was because I literally wanted to be like a tree. So if you think about a tree does not have to try to be a tree. Just by being a tree, just doing what it naturally does as a
Yep.
tree, it provides shelter, it provides oxygen, it provides food, it provides shade. It contributes to the world by just being itself. So just be. I think that's the purpose.
Mm.
And in doing that, you will fulfill whatever purpose you have.
Fucking hell, that's something to think about, bro. I'm gonna think
Yeah,
about this when I go to sleep, bro.
yeah, bro.
after
Just be.
after 30 hours of not sleeping, I'll have something to think about.
That's a good one. I'm glad I could.
So if you could have a conversation with your 17-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Oh,
Or what would you guys
Ooh,
chat about?
I would tell him to listen because
Mm,
one of my probably my second favorite quote is from Tony Robbins, and it's an organism that learns from the trials and errors of others is much more successful than an organism that learns from its own trials and errors.
mm,
Meaning, listen to people who have been where you've been, done what you've done, avoid their mistakes.
mm.
because I did
Yeah.
not listen when I was younger, and I made a lot of mistakes that could have been avoided had I listened.
Hmm.
So just
Yeah.
listen.
Man, I absolutely love the fact that you have the microphone on your beard, bro.
That's like my trademark too in my videos.
that
People are like, wait, what's that in your beard? I'm like, it's the mic.
that's so genius, honestly. These were the rapid fire questions. What's next for you, man?
What's next? So currently, me and some friends are on a journey. We're building a fitness community that is going to change the world. Our goal is to have a cumulative 100, I'm sorry, 1 million pounds lost in our community.
Hmm.
And we're really just trying to teach people how to reach their goals the healthiest way possible without going through all these fad diets, without going through all these
Hmm.
extremes. Really just how to make simple lifestyle changes that can make your quality of life better.
Hmm.
Because here in America, our government has proven that they don't care about our health. So we have to care about our health.
Hmm.
We just want to help people do that.
Yeah. Well, where can people find you, man?
You can find me on all of your favorite social media platforms: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, at The Fitness Idol.
Hmm. Okay, well, man, it was really nice having you on here. Guys, thanks for watching till the end. And yeah, we'll see you all on the next one.
Thanks for having me.